What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is December the 11th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, as far as data points, the only thing to watch for today is CPI. And forecast right now for that year over year is 3.3, month over month is 0.3. And so most likely the data comes from this is going to dictate what happens for the rest of the week, because you have PPI coming out tomorrow. But in my opinion, I think everyone is just holding their breath for CPI. So even looking at the futures, slightly green, but it was during the overnight very red. So, or not very red, sorry, just down 0.22, but it goes to show that the market's kind of just holding its breath for CPI. But NASDAQ is up currently 0.16, S&P up 0.12, and Dow is down slightly 0.07. So everything, like anything is possible for the most part today. All will come down to the data points. Fear and greed index is under the neutral category, so people's appetite for risk isn't necessarily there. So kind of just stay tuned for that. Moving on, Sofi. So no official news from Sofi itself today, no SEC filings. It is kind of just piggybacking off of the broader market, and nothing really wrong with that. So it is up 0.26. Shorts though did return a ton yesterday, so 12.43% of the free float is being shorted, so definitely a positive thing, moving towards my target of roughly 11%, but 132.41 million shares is still overall being shorted, and that works out to be $2.02 billion. Some points to watch for the today though, even though it is green, just watch for that 15.15 to be that strong support. Flip side, if it does decide to recover because of good data, $15.83 is going to be that next strong target / resistance, followed by $16.50. Moving on, ticker RGTI. So this one I've brought up in my pre-market because honestly, big money loves it and they are really propelling it higher. Despite this right here, so despite people's appetite for risk not necessarily being there, this has just gone up like crazy. So when it comes down to it, I did bring this up in my pre-market yesterday, and they put out news like an hour after. So this is the news that caused it to go up 45.19%, have a high of $6.89. So based on the pre-market, it's going to have a new 52-week high and possibly even a all-time, nope, not an all-time, but 52-week, and it's still heavily shorted. So I think a lot of people are just seeing this as the next big squeeze play, kind of disregarding essentially the news and the actual multiples and the realistic prices. So I think this is just now the next big squeeze play, possibly. Still on the threshold list, 14.81% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 37.17 million shares overall are being shorted. So as of right now, it's gone up so much so fast. It's above all the key fib levels, so it's just going to be more psychological hold numbers. So $7.50, $8 are going to be the next strong kind of resistance points. Flip side, $7 is going to be a strong support. And so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how that does all play out. This one, I get it. I've brought up in the past, I like to short, but I would not ever touch this because this is like a huge amount of momentum. And I wouldn't really bet against this stock whatsoever. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. And I just wanted to bring this up through Seeking Alpha. It does have the quant, so quantitative ratio or whatever you want to call it, or rating, 4.99. So this one is very highly, like it's somewhat of a justified push higher. So again, something to kind of keep in mind. Moving on, SMCI. So this one's getting hit despite the CEO essentially saying, hey, we're not going to get delisted. So I think the market just did not want him to even talk whatsoever. This has been one of those interesting stocks. A lot of analysts behind the scenes still do see a lot of upside. Even myself, when this was at, I think it was $18. I posted this one on my Patreon saying that this is a screaming buying opportunity, at least in the short term. It'll go to 35 if they put out news, probably around 40. It kind of went up a little bit higher than that, but in my opinion, I think it's still, there is a certain amount of risk that is in play with this. So I think that it's kind of due for a little bit of a pullback, but what do I know, right? My crystal ball is sometimes wrong. You guys do your own due diligence, but this one should be on a lot of people's radars because if it does retrace back to, let's say, the 30s, I feel like that might be a good buying opportunity. Short's been really holding fairly strong despite everything. So 18.92% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 94.74 million shares. So even though when it did run up from like 20 to that 40-ish range, or kind of the mid 40s, shorts just held their gain. So they definitely are seeing more downside right now with it at 38 and change. 38.10 is going to be the next strong support. 43.29 is going to be the next strong kind of target / resistance. I don't really see this R2 being touched today, even if CPI is good. So most likely I think it is just going to orient itself around this R1 throughout the day. So something again just to keep in mind. Palantir did put out news. So this one's been more of a stock that's been following its own technicals. So the technicals are pointing for it to kind of hit the mid 60s essentially next, but they put out tons of news. It looks like they are doing kind of a full-on PR blitz and everything like that. So this is the news that they put out today at 6:59. So it's up 2.1%. Shorts, like I stated, have been really getting in a little bit. So 3.71% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 77.85 million shares. This isn't a squeeze play, so don't get me wrong, but it's definitely, it shows by shorts getting in that maybe there's a little bit more downside coming. And right now with it at 72 and change, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So 68.92 is going to be a strong support. 75.26 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So when it comes down to Palantir, I think their stock is going to be very heavily hit by CPI. So if CPI is positive, then yeah, you'll probably see this R2 touched and possibly even break above it. Flip side will happen if it's negative, so you might see this R1 touch. So it's all going to come down onto the data. And last but not least, ticker is CADL. So this one is up 155% right now because of this news. So it is a biotech. Biotechs are not typically my forte. I'm pretty sure I brought that up in the past, so I can't really justify if this is I guess good news or extremely good news to justify that 155% increase, but this is it. And so biotechs are a beast among themselves, but shorts definitely have been starting to get in quite a lot with this company. 11.97% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 2.53 million shares. So this is the I believe second heaviest, I think I made up a word there, traded stock pre-market. So obviously big money sees more upside with this, and just based on the chart itself, it's been having a fairly good year. So not encumbering the pre-market, it is already up 430%. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting stock. This is what they do. On a side note, if you are curious, a biotech, 42 employees, founded in 2003, Needham, in the US. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Is there any other stocks that is floating your boat? Don't forget to pop over to my Patreon, take a look. I do give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been very good hits. So pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.